I was born deaf and I grew up in Arkansas. My family is hearing and I have one deaf sister. I grew up with a very strong deaf identity, proud of who I am. My mom, as a hearing person, felt like it was important to become very active in the deaf community and learn American Sign Language. She knew that we needed full access to language at a very early age. Recognizing that value, she made sure that we were part of the deaf community and took the initiative to meet people, and that became part of our identity growing up, and it's part of who I am today. Now, in my job as the Family Mentor Program, I see families from all over the state who are hearing, and I pair them with deaf adults so that those deaf individuals can teach the family sign language, deaf culture, communication access, and all of those critical things for children. Many families are unsure of what to do, how to get started, and they have a lot of questions. So they have a deaf adult to support them through that process. That's been my job for quite some time now. As I mentioned before, I work with families from all over, and often families are not confident or they feel very isolated because they don't see other families who have deaf children. Some families may live in rural areas or they just may not have access to those families who are in similar situations. I do tell them that those families are out there, but it's important that they know the critical nature of language development at an early age. I thought about my experience growing up as well and the family experiences that I hear about. So last October, about a year ago, I started this hashtag whyISign. This hashtag wasn't intended just for ASL, but it could be applied to any sign language from all over the world. The point is to emphasize the use of a sign language. With this hashtag, my goal was that families could share their experiences and their stories as to why they decided to sign with their deaf children. And in that vein, they would be able to inspire other families to know that they could also learn sign language. I always say that if my father could learn sign language, any father could. My father was a farmer from a rural area, and if he could learn sign language, anyone can. So I started this hashtag and I had a short and sweet video of my father, and I shared it with other families asking them to share their stories. At first, many were hesitant and shy, but as the movement grew, more and more people were willing to share their stories. But then I realized that the deaf community wanted to share their stories as well and why sign language was important to them. So the deaf community started to contribute to that hashtag as well. People have various experiences and grow up in different backgrounds. Some grew up oral and learned sign language later. Some prefer both, some were sign language only. But it's important for parents to also see those deaf adults, understand their stories, and perhaps learn something from what they experienced. I want them to see that there are codas, interpreters, students, doctors, audiologists, friends, all of these other people who value sign language and want to support that movement. I realized that that network would become very valuable, and we could have this hub of different perspectives. They could see that others felt the same way and maybe connect and ask questions. Families could get more involved in the deaf community, and there was a built-in support system within that movement. And that is still going to this day. I recently attended the Eddy Conference, and that was a great experience, and I received a lot of support. Of course, I can't do this on my own. It really does take a community. So in California, we partnered with CAD, Sign Press, Deaf Community of San Diego, plus several other support services and agencies in the area that recognize the value of it. Lead K got involved as well, and the movement really exploded with tons of support. The conference is done, but I didn't want the movement to end. I certainly want to see that continue. Now we're coming on Deaf Awareness Week, and I'm hoping that more families are willing to share their stories and we can see valuable perspectives. There's so much power in that support system. I want more families to share their experiences, and I also want to see more classes and programs in the schools share their experiences because media is powerful. I want to show families that there are services available, that schools do have supportive programs for you and your child. The support is there so that when parents see that, they can put that in the back of their minds. They may move or they may know someone that in that area and they can make connections. We are all one community. And I also really want this to become a global movement. It's not just about me, it's not just about you, it's about the community itself. Hearing families need to know the importance of sign language, the deaf community needs to share their background and experiences, and we need to become one powerful network with the same goal. I want to support those hearing families to help them understand the importance of sign language, the importance of language, and the importance of relationships. I want them to value that moving forward, and I hope that more videos are shared and that we see more support and collaboration for all of us. This is the whyISign t-shirt. I was getting a little bit frustrated because I didn't have a lot of resources. There aren't many books or DVDs that I can share with families. They can get rather expensive, and it's frustrating to have to borrow all the time. So I gave some thought to what we could do to make it easier. And I thought a win-win for everyone would be to make these shirts. I chose to make the I in the middle here green because when I looked at the internet, I saw that this green means family and community, and I thought that that was a perfect fit for our movement. I also added the phrase on the back because I wanted to start a conversation. Don't just look at it and walk away. Let's talk about it. Why do you sign? What does that mean for you? So build those connections in that network. We printed the shirts through a deaf business, and we've sold them all over the country. And that money goes back to the deaf community. So it could be to buy movies and DVDs or resources for families, and it supports different deaf businesses and companies. So again, it's a win for all. I also thought it was a nice representation that could raise some awareness out in the world. There may be people who don't say anything when they see the shirt, but they do go home and they do some research later on, and that starts their involvement in the deaf community. And these shirts are on sale now. You can find information a variety of ways. You can contact me directly via email at whyIsign@gmail.com. You can also use Facebook, whyIsign, all one word. You can also use Instagram, same thing, whyIsign. You can also find us on Twitter at AskMeWhyIsign. Or you can do the website. The website is still under construction, but it is www.whyIsign.com. And you can find those things via Google, or you can use the hashtag whyIsign via search engines, and you'll find a lot more information about that. There are some transcripts available as well to make sure that everyone, even those who don't sign, can access the information. So that's where you can find us. I look forward to seeing you.